Giannis Antetokounmpo got ejected. The Pistons had a double-digit lead. It looked like they were going to cruise to a victory over the Milwaukee Bucks and get back in the win column. But yet again, they crumbled down the stretch. What happened? How did they lose this game this type of way again? We're going to talk about that in today's episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I'm your host, Ku Cahill. You can find me over on Twitter at Ku Cahill. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by Jase Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jase case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50-plus infections. Get yours today at jasemedical.com. That's JASC medical.com. The Detroit Pistons continue to suffer tough losses at the end of the game, back-to-back games where they just can't close the game out against really quality teams. It would have been really quality wins. And despite the fact that Giannis got ejected in this game over a soft technical, it was a very soft technical, but got ejected nonetheless, the Pistons had a chance to win this game. They were up by double digits in the fourth quarter. They should have won this game. But yet again, a Hall of Fame point guard in back-to-back games closed the door shut on them and sent the Pistons home upset and disappointed and letting not only themselves down, but letting the fan base down. So how did this happen again in this game? We'll talk about Marcus Sasser playing really well later on. We'll talk about Cade dropping 33 points later on. But at the end of the day, the Pistons need to win some games. And that's what matters first. So how did they lose this game? At the beginning of this fourth quarter, again, Milwaukee was without Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the Pistons had gotten up to a double-digit point lead. Cade had just gotten off a third quarter that saw him score 13 points on 5 of 9 shooting. The team was playing really well. Everyone was contributing. Marcus Sasser also had just dropped 10 points in that quarter. Everything was looking good. The Milwaukee Bucks, the first thing that went wrong was the Milwaukee Bucks whipped out a zone. And they basically were playing, if you play 2K at all, they were playing basically pinch defense. They were playing like a hard, aggressive 2-3. And anytime Cade would come off a pick and roll, anytime Cade would try to take a dribble in, the opposite wing defender would pinch in hard, aggressively at the nail. And Cade basically was double-teamed the entire fourth quarter, and the Pistons couldn't score off of it. They scored 23 points in this quarter, but it was not, they shot 39% from the field, 18% from deep. It was not good, and they had 7 turnovers in this quarter. It was a horrific offensive quarter. And it was because the Milwaukee Bucks brought out that defense, that zone defense, and the Pistons didn't know what to do. They took Cade out the game because they were doubling him, and no one else could make anything pay. Isaiah Stewart missed 3 good looks from the corner. Asar Thompson missed an open look. And that was basically it. They couldn't generate any open looks versus that zone defense. And I feel like I feel like it's going on 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years of every single time the Pistons go against a zone defense, just they can't break it. It hurts them. So it's tough. That's tough to see out there on the offensive end because Cade was having a really good game and he was then forced to take bad shots because nothing else was generating, and the only shot they could get was a Cade contested jumper. So that was tough. The other thing that really lost the Pistons the game in this quarter was yet again another Hall of Fame point guard shutting the door on them. Damian Lillard in this quarter went off. He had 18 points, 6 of 11 from the field. He got 6 free throws in this game. And let me make this very clear before I start talking about this. I am nowhere near blaming Monty Williams for this loss. I'm not blaming him for the loss. I'm not saying Monty Williams is a bad coach. I think he's a really good coach. I think he's done a really good job for the most part this year. I think he's a good coach. I'm happy the Pistons have him. But there was something that I disagreed with that I thought contributed to the Pistons' loss. And it's the fact that they continued to play drop coverage against Damian Lillard the entire fourth quarter And I don't understand why that was the strategy, the defensive scheme you played against Damian Lillard in that fourth quarter. There's guys that you just can't play drop coverage against. Guys like Steph Curry, who tore them up in the last game. Guys like Damian Lillard, who tore them up in this game, in this quarter. You cannot play drop coverage against these guys because this is what happens. In the fourth quarter, when they were playing drop coverage, it started off with Dame launching 40-foot threes because he has that type of range. He made one of them, and what that caused to happen was, yes, the Pistons were in drop coverage, but Duren was playing higher at the level in drop coverage. So Dame was getting screens damn near at half court. So Duren isn't playing drop all the way back to the free throw line. He's playing drop basically at the three-point line. He's coming up high on this drop coverage. And now, basically what you're causing to happen at this point is either you're giving up open Dame threes or you're forcing Duren to come up that high, and now Dame's getting a full head of steam going downhill against someone with the foot speed of Jalen Duren. It's just a mismatch. It's over and over. And that's all that happened consistently over and over. Literally, I kid you not, on like 6 back-to-back possessions, Damian Lillard scored by running a high pick and roll and just zooming past Duren and getting to the rim. And I can't even blame Duren too much because I don't think that's just a good scheme at all. You getting your big man that high against Damian Lillard with a full head of steam, you're basically giving him a free running lane to the basket. You're giving him a free layup because there's not going to be many big men, if any, that have the foot speed to stick with Damian Lillard at that point going downhill. It's just not going to happen. And you know what else happens because of that? And we've talked about this on the podcast last year a lot with the Pistons. When you can't guard people, what do? You foul. And I know Pistons fans are going to talk about the fact that, hey, we only had 3 free throws in this quarter. The Bucks had 10. Well, the Bucks deserved all 10 of their free throws. Dame had 6 free throws in this quarter. Every single one of his foul calls were deserved because the Pistons could not guard him. He was getting by Duren, and all Duren could do was foul. All he could do was hip check him. All he could do was trip him with his thigh. All he could do was reach around and smack him on the arm because it just wasn't going to work. There's no reason why the Pistons should have been playing drop coverage against Damian Lillard in that quarter. He roasted them in that coverage. He got easy looks the entire quarter, and he got free throws the entire quarter because the Pistons couldn't guard him. It's not a successful scheme against guys like Damian Lillard, especially when he's feeling it like that. Now, I maybe could understand it to start off the quarter. You believe in your scheme, you believe in your drop coverage. Okay, cool. But after Dame gets to 6, 8, 10 points, you just have to trap him. You have to trap on the ball and just make the rotations on the weak side. You just absolutely have to. I probably would have subbed in. I'm kind of confused why they didn't close with a 3-guard lineup of Cade, Killian, and Sasser. I would have probably closed with Cade, Killian, Sasser, Asar, and Stu. I would have put Sasser on Dame and had Stu on the ball screens. I would have trapped the ball screens, and I would have just had Cade, Killian, and Asar roaming the back lines, making plays on the back end, because all of them are really instinctual on the defensive end. They all are really good in the passing lanes. Asar is an incredible weak side rim protector. I would have had them all try and just make plays on the backside and make anyone else beat you than Damian Lillard. If Brook Lopez is going to kill you in the short roll by continuing to make the right read to the corner and you guys can't make the right rotations, then so be it. If Brook Lopez is going to get every shot in the post versus a smaller defender, and that was what you're going to have to deal with, hey, so be it. But Damian Lillard getting a full head of steam and getting basically 5 shots for him shooting, like every possession, that can't be the defense. It just can't be. And Dame shredded him for it. He absolutely shredded him. He had 18 points in this quarter. And again, he had 6 free throws. There's not a single free throw. There wasn't a single foul I disagree with. That was the sole cause of playing a defensive scheme against him that just was not going to work. It just was not going to work. So do I blame Monty for the loss? No. Do I think Monty's a bad coach? No. I think he's a really good coach. I criticize this part. I don't think this was the right decision. But even despite that, the Pistons on the other end can't turn the ball over 7 times in that quarter, and they can't just go, scoreless. They can't struggle. I think Greg Kelser said they had went like 5 minutes without a made field goal. Like, that just can't happen. You can't let zone defenses take you out the game like this. If teams are noticing, and they are noticing, that they can just double Cade and no one else is going to make them pay for it and no one else is going to initiate the offense, you're screwed, which is why I was kind of confused why they didn't have Killian, Sasser, and Cade, because then you have 3 guys that can initiate the offense. So you can't just focus all of it on Cade. You can get Cade in some off-ball actions to get him the ball. I was a little bit confused by that, but nonetheless, the defensive scheme against Dame, it was a little bit frustrating for me because you can't play drop against guys like that. You can't play drop against Steph. You can't play drop against Dame. You can't play drop against Trae Young. Like, these are guys you just can't play drop against. And the fact that, Dame had gotten to 18 points and they still were playing the same coverage on him, it was a little confusing to me. So I don't truly get it. But that's why I believe the Pistons lost the game. They couldn't score against the zone. They let the zone take Cade completely out the game. And then defensively, they were running a scheme against Dame that was just a recipe for disaster. You were basically asking Dame to take the victory from you. So that's what happened in this game, man. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? Why did the Pistons lose this game to the Milwaukee Bucks after having a double-digit point lead? Tell me in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at @KukaHill. Moving on, we'll get into some positives. Marcus Sasser might just be him. He might just be him. We'll talk about that and his play coming up. But first, I've got to tell you guys about one of our sponsors, eBay Motors. And our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with the wonderful Locked On Fantasy Basketball host, Josh Lloyd. If you guys are into fantasy basketball, you're not listening or watching Josh Lloyd, I don't know what you're doing. And he's going to be bringing you some of the best fantasy picks each week all season long. Whether you're prepping for a daily draft or scouting the waiver wire, every week we're going to provide you with players that are guaranteed to fit on your roster. So let's see who Josh has picked out for us on this week's eBay's Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week. Look, Deni Avdija, I think that's a great one. He's playing really well to start this season. He's shooting 50% from deep in this game, in this season. He's taken over the starting lineup for the Washington Wizards, and he's one of those players that he does a lot of things on the basketball court. He gets rebounds, he gets steals, he gets assists, and the last few years it's just been, he hasn't been able to shoot well enough from the floor. Well, right now he's shooting 57% from the floor, 50% from deep. If he's going to be able to shoot those numbers with all the other stats that he brings to the table, I absolutely love that pick from Josh. I think Deni Avdija is easily the best pick he has here with Josh Lloyd. So that's the kind of picks that he's going to be having for you every week, again, with eBay's Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week. Josh Lloyd from Locked On Fantasy Basketball is going to help you win your fantasy championship, and eBay Motors knows a championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. And it's the same thing with your vehicle. I've told you guys many times, you guys know if you guys have been listening to the podcast for years, I was a delivery driver for a pretty decent stretch of while I was recording and being the host of this podcast. And I had so many issues with my car nonstop, over and over. And I constantly ran into the problem of spending too much on parts or getting the wrong part and, trusting mechanics to do it and get the right parts and hoping they're getting the right prices, etc., when really I could have just been helped with by eBay Motors. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure your ride stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, roof rack, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or you'll get your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. That's with eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply at ebaymotors.com. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. So, look, it's very tough that the Detroit Pistons lost this game. Fans have every right to be upset. Fans have every right to be mad. This is not one of those, I'm going to come on here and be like, fans need to just relax. No, fans have every reason to be mad about this game. There's no reason in living hell the Pistons should have lost this game. They should not have lost this game to the Milwaukee Bucks. At the 7-minute mark, they had a 10-point lead. 6-minute mark, they had a 10-point lead. At the 5-minute mark, they had a 7-point lead. This game, they should not have lost this game. Just should not have. And fans have every right to be absolutely upset. And if they don't want to look at any positives and you guys just want to be mad, I completely understand that. Because this is now back-to-back losses, along with the fact that they lost to handicapped teams due to injuries before this, to the Pelicans, to the Suns. So the Pistons are throwing away opportunities to win games with a tough schedule coming up. The Pistons very well, if things keep going this way, the season will get out of hand very, very early. You get the Sixers, the Bulls, the Hawks, the Cavs, the Raptors, the Nuggets, the Pacers. That's how many games in a row is that? That's all tough games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 before you finally get a game against the Wizards where the Pistons might be favored in. So, and I'm not saying the Pistons can't win any of these next 7 games, but with how it's going lately, with how they're closing games, with how they're playing, if they don't pull their stuff together, this could, like, I hate to say this. I'm not predicting this. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But if they can't get their stuff together and close these games out and stop turning the ball over and play cohesive 48 minutes of basketball like they haven't been able to since the first 3 games, if they can't do that, 2-14 is on the board. Look, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but 2-14 is on the board. That's all I'm saying. So I understand completely. My overall point is this. I understand completely if no one wants to hear any positives and just wants to hear, this team needs to be better. It has to happen, blah, blah, all this. But I'm going to try to spin it into a positive note. Because Marcus Sasser went completely bonkers in this game. He had 26 points in this game. He was a big reason why the Pistons scored 43 points in the third quarter. He played extremely well in that quarter. He had 10 points coming off the bench in that quarter. Just absolutely lighting it up. Absolutely lighting it up. He's playing at a really high level as a rookie. Now, he's an older rookie, which is to be expected. To a certain degree. Let me not say to be expected because older rookies still struggle. But, part of the idea of drafting older rookies is that maybe they'll be ready to contribute faster. And he absolutely has been ready to contribute faster. The last 4 games from him, 19 points, 22 points. He had a tough game against Golden State. And then this game, 26 points. He's playing extremely well. And he's just a dog, dude. He's just an absolute dog. He plays hard defensively. He gets up in your stuff defensively. And then offensively, he's just a scorer. He's not a great passer. He's not going to run your offense. He's not going to make the skip read to the corner off the pick and roll. Like, that's not his game. You know what his game is? I'm going to get this ball in the bucket. Like, that's all it is. I'm going to score. I'm going to get to the rim. I'm going to draw fouls. I'm going to shoot this basketball, and most of the time, it's going to go in. He has a sick handle. He's able to create space for himself on step-back threes. If he gets a switch on a big, he's destroyed them almost every single time, getting to the rim, either with his up and under, a nice scoop layup. He has Scooper Hall of Fame for my 2K fans. Again, that's the second 2K reference of the podcast. But Scooper Hall of Fame, draws fouls. Like, the dude can just score. He's a flat-out bucket. Flat-out bucket. I think he's going to be the Pistons. Now, I'm not limiting his ceiling, but I just think he's going to be the Pistons like Lou Williams with a little bit with more defense. Like, this dude, he comes into the game with the sole purpose of putting the pill in the basket, and he does it. He does it. He, at least right now, he's doing it at an insane efficient level. And like when he gets on one of those rolls that he got in the third quarter, it gets the whole team rallying, man. Like, the Pistons took, after Giannis got ejected, they had gotten up by more than double digits, more than 10 points. And it was all because Marcus Sasser, and everyone was just feeding off of Marcus Sasser's energy, feeding off of his step-back threes, feeding off of his pump fake, one dribble three, yank back, pull up middies. Like, the whole team was feeding off of his scoring ability. And it's a shame that it went to a waste in a loss. It absolutely is. It's an absolute shame that it went to a waste. But Marcus Sasser himself, he's balling out. He's absolutely balling out. And when Monte Morris comes back, the Pistons are going to have some decisions. When Alec Burks comes back, they are going to have some decisions. I think Marcus Sasser has to play. He absolutely has to play. Cage's going to play. Ivy's going to play. If Killian Hayes continues to play well, I thought he had a fine game tonight. Wasn't as efficient. 6 of 15 from the floor, 0 of 3 from deep. 2 of those threes were shot clock 3-point buzzers. Like, I've already told you guys, if I'm Killian Hayes, I'm not taking those. I'll just hold the ball, take the turnover like I do in 2K. That's the third reference now for the podcast. You can tell I'm a 2K head. But I'm holding the ball, taking the turnover. I'm just not shooting it. But anyways, my point is, if Killian Hayes continues to play how he has the last, 7 games, I don't see Monty taking him out the rotation. So, like, how are you fitting all these guys into the rotation? Because Marcus Sasser definitely is playing his way into the rotation. You need him. You need Cade. You need Jane Ivey. If Killian keeps playing well, you're not taking him out the rotation. So it's like, and you didn't bring Monte to not play. You didn't keep Alec Burks to not play. So someone either is not going to play or someone's going to get traded. So, like, I can't wait for when that happens. When everyone comes back, I can't wait to see what it is Troy Weaver decides to do and what Monty Williams decides to do. But yeah, man, Sasser's going to be in the rotation. That's all you need to know, though. I don't care who's healthy. I don't care who's healthy for the Pistons. Marcus Sasser should be playing. He should be. Now, I just can't see a future where he doesn't. I was about to say, now maybe Monty, gives him the rookie treatment, plays the veterans, but like, my God, 26 points. He's shooting what? What is he shooting on the season? 51% from three, 53% from the floor. Like you can't bench that, bro. You just can't. I can't see it happening. I can't see a world where he's not playing heavy minutes for the Pistons. I just can't see it. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, Marcus Sasser, he's a dog. He's him. He's balling, man. The Pistons got another really good pick in the first round. Not in the first 10 picks, not in the first 20 picks. Got a really good late round, first round pick. And he's balling out for him. It looks like it was a really good hit. This isn't me just overreacting to this either. I think you can tell with certain players when you're watching them. Now, he may not shoot 40% from deep. He may not be as good as, like, what I'm saying, like with Lou Williams. Like, he may not get to there. But at the very least, you can see he's going to be a player. Like, I can say very clearly right now, Marcus Sasser will be an NBA player. Very clear. How great of one, how good of one. Now, that you have to watch play out. But I'm very confident in saying that, yes, he's going to be an NBA player, and that's a good hit, no matter what, in the end of the first round. So, yeah, just wanted to give Sasser his credit, man. He balled out. Fun to watch him, dude. Absolutely fun to watch him. What do you guys think about Marcus Sasser? Let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter, @CougarHill. When we come back, Cade Cunningham scored 33 points in this game, but yet somehow I see some Pistons fans are not happy about that. We'll talk about why and whether... And I'll tell you guys actually why you should be happy about Cade scoring 33 points and how he looked in this game. We'll talk about that when we come back. But first, I've got to tell you guys about one of our sponsors, Jase Medical. We spend a lot of time talking together, you and I. We get fired up together on wins and losses, who starts, who sits. Trust me, we know all about that. I'm thankful for that connection that we have. And today I want our chat to be a little bit more personal. I just learned that you can get a 1-year supply in ED medications. You realize what that means. Bring on extended travel. Bring on the next natural disaster or supply chain issue. You are covered, my friend. You don't have to worry about whether or not you can refill your generics for Cialis, Viagra, prescriptions. And this is possible because of our friends at Jase Medical. Go online right now at jasemedical.com to receive your 12-month supply on your daily medications. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout for a discount as well. A verified customer had this to say about Jase, quote, "I am thankful for this service. Supply chain issues caused me to cut pills in half to have it. And I ordered most of my daily meds with a year supply. I also ordered an antibiotic kit. I feel secured now. Prices are lower than local pharmacies. I highly recommend this for everyone," end quote. If you or someone you love would get some peace of mind by having a year supply of any daily medication, go to jasemedical.com to see if it's offered for you. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your purchase at jasemedical.com. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. So, look, Cade scored 33 points in this game. He had 33 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. Okay? Where's the tweet? Let me make sure I have it up. Here it is. Only Isaiah Thomas and Grant Hill have more 38 and 8 games by a Piston over the last 40 seasons. Cade hasn't even played more than 90 games. So, like, I know the Pistons lost, but take your victories here, okay? Take your victories with this. Cade is balling, okay? He is balling. Now, the efficiency was not great again tonight. 11 to 27 from the floor. But I feel like if you just simply watch this game, if you watch these games, he is being forced to take tough shots. He's making a living off of tough shots because of the way defenses are guarding everyone else. So, again, this goes back to, and does Cade need to improve the turnovers? By the way, yes, absolutely. He's averaging 5 turnovers a game. He can't. That can't happen. I think he's probably going to end the season this year averaging a lot of turnovers. I believe probably for the rest of Cade's career, it's probably going to be a talking point for us that, hey, Cade got to get them turnovers down. He's on a stretch right now. He's turning over a lot. Then he'll have a stretch where he's not turning over a lot. And then he'll have another 2-week stretch where it's like, hey, you got to get the turnovers down. I think that's just the type of player he is. That's why I believe maybe that's not the case. Maybe he cuts them down completely. But I think just watching him now the last 2 years, I think he's probably just going to be one of those players that struggles with turnovers a lot. I just think that's probably going to be one of his things. But this is something we talked about in the offseason. Even if Isaiah Stewart, who shot the ball well this year, shoots good from 3. Even if Killian Hayes, who's been shooting well from deep the last 7 games, even if he shoots well from deep. Even if Asar Thompson has a game when he hits 2 threes, or, one of those guys. When they hit the threes, it's good for them. It's good for the Pistons offense that they're making threes. But it's not going to change. And I told you guys in this offseason, and some people just didn't want to listen to me. Some people just thought that I was being a hater. Some people thought I didn't know what I was talking about, apparently. That's kind of crazy to me. But defenses are not going to change the way they're guarding the Pistons just because Stu hits 2 threes. Or just because Killian hits 2 threes. They're not going to change the way they're guarding Cade. Now, if Cade continues to pass it to them and they continue to shoot well, Cade's assist numbers will go up and the Pistons' offense will be more efficient. But teams are going to continue to choose that an Isaiah Stewart open 3 and an Asar Thompson open 3, that a Killian Hayes open 3, that, basically anybody else open 3 is going to be a better offense than letting Cade get to his spots and letting Cade get comfortable. That's what they're going to choose. It's tough. It's a tough living right now for Cade. I think for what he's being tasked with, he's doing a fine job. Can he be better? Yes. Does he need to be better in certain areas like turnovers? Yes, he has to be. I've been critical of him with the turnovers. Some of his turnovers are just unacceptable. They absolutely are. They're just lazy, careless. But, man, I feel like we're living – I feel like people and Pistons fans and just overall NBA fans, we're really getting to a point where we're taking guys for granted. When a dude can drop 33, 8, and 8 on just 27 shots. Let me not say just 27 shots, because 27 shots is a lot. But 33 points to 27 shots still is a pretty good efficiency with 10 free throws drawn. If a dude's dropping 33, 8, and 8, and you're complaining after about how he played, we're really missing I think we're really missing the larger point here. We're really, what's the saying? Oh my God, I forgot the saying. What is it? You're really mistaking the forest for the trees or something. At that point, that's what we're doing here. If after Cade drops 33, 8, and 8, he becomes the third Piston. The only Pistons that have more 38 and 8 games than him are Isaiah Thomas and Grant Hill. If you're after this game, then complaining about Cade still, and trying to criticize him to a heavy tune, you're kind of missing the point. I feel like you're kind of missing it. Take your minor victories. Cade's looking good with the situation he's being tasked with. And when guys get back healthy, when you have a full team and Monty can actually play guys that aren't, and look, I'm not trying to take shots at them, but two-way guys and Stanley and Jared Rhoden, when he's not, those are your guys, and basically you're playing a 6-man rotation, a 7-man rotation. Cade's not being tasked with playing 40 minutes. Let's see if the efficiency rises up a little bit then. But right now, I think he's doing a really good job with what he's being tasked with. So let's chill a little bit. Let's chill just a tad. The turnovers are fair. Needing to close the game out, it's fair. But let's not make that the main point, as if everything else isn't there's a lot of other good stuff happening. Let's keep everything in perspective here. So let me know what you guys think though in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at @KukaHill about Cade Cunningham's performance tonight. Again, let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter. That's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel. Leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Stay safe out there. Till next time, peace out.